The law of cause and effect is a theory that has been researched and worked on by many renowned scientists. The conclusive evidence of the presence of it is proved, but how exactly it is working is still up for debate and may continue to be so forever. The law states that events from the past, the present, and the future are all connected. The world is a small space. How a simple change in routine may have an adverse effect in the world, and how these changes will have a domino effect, having far-reaching events. The law also talks about the presence of some celestial superpower running all the events taking place in the ecosystem. The law of cause and effect is an action that has wider implications on the events of the future and life as a whole. Each action enacted has an effect on a condition. There are four major types of actions that formulate the results in the law. Emotional attachment. Thoughts are also manipulated due to this law. The law has been studied by various scientists trying to discover the true nature of how life is run. There is nothing called luck and misfortune. Everything is a virtue of deeds performed from person to person. Misfortunes can drive a person crazy, blaming people for his misdeeds. Like it is said, what goes around comes back around in the same quantity, not more nor less. Fortunes and misfortunes are of each individual's own doing. Scientists have tried to figure out what is right and what is wrong, and haven't been successful in finding the end result till date. When there is a question about luck or misfortune, faith steps in. People follow faith blindly, leading to more problems than solutions. Faith is both good and evil, as like most things. Faith can make communities fight each other. Faith can also help individuals in communities to come together. The law revolves around good and bad deeds, so having a gadget that would enlighten about it would be a success story. However, every individual has that notion in their consciousness. Consciousness doesn't resolve around any religion, but only on right and wrong, and provides signals to the body to act likewise. Over the ages, the wrongs done to certain communities and countries have affected how the world is today. Many Indian cultures talk widely about karma and its implications in day-to-day life. Karma firmly believes in the law of cause and effect, afterlife, and rebirth. Karma was initially found written down in early scriptures, and it has shaped how certain cultures are today. According to these scriptures, karma is embedded in the genes and DNA and controls the formation of certain body parts and diseases. There are 12 laws of karma that are followed by every individual, knowingly or unknowingly. Everything is fair and fine if life is understood. Life has its own mysteries, which may never be solved. Learning about life's materialistic and spiritual values will change how life is looked upon. Materialistic and spiritual values shape the physical and natural laws of nature, and shape the consciousness of each individual. Life is a movie, which has pawns, rooks, bishops, knights, a king, and a queen. The king dictates how to protect it and win. The same can be said about life. People who decide to bring a change in their habits and deeds and ended up as the kings of these games. Their actions today have an effect on everybody around them. There is a misconception about money, that it is evil and bad. But these are thoughts of individuals who find it difficult to make the money and succeed. Money is not about the currency notes. It is a divine energy. It is the energy of good and bad deeds. The paper notes that are possessed are symbols of this energy. These symbols won't travel with anybody after death, but the energy most certainly will. The symbols will help improve the life of the next generation and the generation after that. The law of cause and effect carries the implications of the past to the present, and will carry the outcomes of the present to the future, and the cycle will continue. Over the years, an endless number of scientists have tried to prove this law of cause and effect to be invalid, but have not been able to find definite answers. The laws of cause and effect have far-reaching events spanning from decades to millennia, and will continue shaping the Earth for the foreseeable future. The principle of law of cause and effect. Picking up a drop from the ocean, a pinch of sand from the desert, a change in habit, or removing a leaf from a tree will bring about a change in these ecosystems. These changes may not occur at the same time, but may take years or centuries to come into fruition. The principle of law of cause and effect states that every action that takes place will have a similar reaction in whatever way or form, depending on the condition. Every action will have a condition and a cause. The law states that the universe is always moving, and moves according to the chain of effects. The law is applicable in the past, present, and future. It is also applicable to any part of the world you are born or reside in. If the people in the society are dead or have migrated away, the society will still face the impact of the law, e.g., chopping trees in a forest for building a road. Initially, the effect of these will be quite negligible, but as time goes by, there will be landslides as vehicles start moving through the road. Animals will be displaced and start migrating to other places, and at times attacking humans. Soon, the forest will be inhabited by fungus and moss. Animals migrating to other forests will be a threat to the indigenous animals of that forest. And so the process will continue. The birth of a human baby is caused by an action that has a cause and a condition. Each baby is, however, not born in the same mental or physical condition and in the same socioeconomic conditions. When talking about historical events, historians describe the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria as the focal point that led to the effect which resulted in World War I, and saw the subsequent loss of life, property, and so on. In certain cases, there may be actions taking place, but the cause for them may not be known. These mysterious actions will have a cause for that too. E.g., bodies of some Catholic saints have not decayed for centuries. Scientists have still not been able to provide conclusive evidence to find out why. The law of cause and effect has an effect on the thoughts of each individual. Thoughts create a cause in the mind of individuals and explain the circumstances related to it. These thoughts, however, are creatively manifesting your reality. These thoughts give meaning to life and create a different perspective of the world. Each individual has total control over these thoughts, so it is their choice how to interpret these thoughts. Types of causes. A cause is an action that brings about an effect in any way or form. There are 4 types of causes: necessary, sufficient, contributory, and questionable cause. Necessary cause. A necessary cause is an action that is necessary for the survival of the specimen. E.g., water is necessary for survival. If wells were not dug by early humans, then the world today would have been different. Sufficient cause. A sufficient cause can be termed as a cause that is required, but there are alternative ways or solutions for the same problem. E.g., a student can get into a university by getting good marks. However, the same student can also get into the university by winning a prize, say a Nobel Prize, which will automatically get the student admission to the university. Contributory cause. In contributory cause, an action can cause many effects and result in different outcomes, e.g., food cycle, the solar cycle. Questionable cause. Commonly known as causal fallacies, a questionable cause is an assumption or an incorrect judgment of an outcome because they are regularly associated. E.g., people who smoke are more likely to have lung cancer, but all people who have lung cancer don't smoke. Misfortune and good luck. Luck can be defined as a positive experience of events that would not otherwise be possible, while misfortune is the opposite of that. These events can occur due to natural or unnatural circumstances at that particular time. In many supernatural beliefs, luck or misfortune is characterized by offering sacrifices or carrying a charm of the deity. Many superstitions are associated with luck and fortunes in different cultures, e.g., entering from one door and leaving from a different door in Greek culture is considered unlucky. Finding a potato or vegetable in the shape of a deity is considered lucky in some cultures. But luck and misfortune is the biggest myth in today's society. All of humanity wants to be happy and be lucky, so it is important to understand that luck and misfortune are both a package of a deed or action showing its effects. A good deed will always produce good results, while a bad deed will always give bad results with time. This can be called karma, where certain deeds or actions will bring about a certain outcome. The outcome of these deeds can have far-reaching consequences, not only in the present or the future, but also in other parts of the world. A cashew tree cannot produce mangoes, and a mango tree cannot give cashew fruit, as long as scientists don't perform an experiment on them, which, by the way, is also an effect from an action. The same can be said about luck and misfortune. A human may be born into a difficult or good socio-economic condition, according to the deeds or choices made by the generation before him. The action the human takes while growing up will decide the luck of the individual. A thief who has been convicted for robbery will blame the judge and jury. In reality, it's the bad deeds of the thief that has him in the situation. The idea of what you sow, you will reap is easily misunderstood by individuals. E.g., a student studying every day will get good marks, while a student studying on the day before exams will either fail or barely get through. The law of cause and effect explains that your fortunes and misfortunes are of every individual's own doing, and not of any other individual. Intention plays an important role in the rule of life. A good intention from an individual may change the life of a person sitting on the road. The same person might have a positive influence on somebody else, and the cycle will continue likewise. This same gesture will be felt by the person who initiated this when the individual is going through a tough time. This is how luck and misfortune are attained. Having a good intention doesn't mean individuals help others and post it on social media to gain some attention or increase a few hundred followers. These deeds and actions determine the luck and fortune of each individual. Success is not built by luck. It is built by the energy of each individual. Every event happens for a reason. Whether it is for the good or bad is the result of the results brought forth by certain events. Understanding right and wrong. The moral law of cause and effect accepts good deeds and choices from everybody. This dictates how much happiness will be bestowed upon later in time. Most of the time, distinguishing between right and wrong becomes difficult. Debates and interviews continue to date, trying to understand what is moral and what is immoral. Each day, an individual will encounter various cases with choices of right and wrong. Humans have been facing these choices right from the dawn of life. These are the choices that separate humans from other living species in the world. These choices are not dependent or related to any religion or any beliefs. Morality can be founded on the opinion that in certain cases there is a shift of ideals, especially in distinguishing the right from the wrong. These moral standards may be subjective or objective, but they are easy to identify and work upon. It would be great if there was a gadget to tell whether a particular chore or action is good or bad. Everybody possesses that gadget in their consciousness. The consciousness always has an idea about right and wrong, and communicates with the body to do the right thing. Everybody has a different understanding of right and wrong. However, If it was based on personal feelings, then this world would have been a difficult place to live in. However, this isn't true, and what is right will always be right, and wrong will always be wrong. Continually searching for right will lead to the modification of it and going into an unfamiliar form, making it almost impossible to find it. People who do good deeds are sometimes termed as foolish, and the ones who commit bad deeds are considered to be smart. E.g., someone who returns a purse fallen on the road might be considered a fool, while the film industry may commit many crimes on actors as well as the audience, but they are charming and get away with it every time. So it speaks why to be good when life can be enjoyed the other way round. Does the law really work, or is it just a myth? Scientists, physicists have tried to prove it to be incorrect, but have only found out no viable option to prove it isn't. Historically speaking, the wrongs performed on people in the past have far-reaching effects on events today. These injustices to people have displaced them from their lands and moved them to different continents, e.g., past slaves. If these people were not displaced from their land, then their present generation may have not been born. This generation, or the survivors to date, receive some form of compensation for the crimes against them. The present-day condition of these people would have far of worst if their ancestors were not enslaved in the first place. Karma and its implications. Karma is an integral part of the law of cause and effect. Karma is a Sanskrit word which basically means kri, or action. Karma is associated closely with the beliefs of rebirth in many Indian cultures, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and Taoism. The Christian culture follows a notion similar to karma. The acts of karma include mental, physical, and physiological acts. These actions performed are harmless until a reaction takes place. The energy produced becomes kinetic energy and has a domino effect on events around the world. Karma and fate are not a singular thing. Destiny is something that is already pre-planned by some higher authority, and it cannot be changed. Karma, on the other hand, is completely dependent on what each individual does during his lifetime, or had done in a previous life. Like good deeds and bad deeds, karma also has similar concepts in the form of vikarma, or bad karma, which nurtures bad ideas and thoughts. Akarma is a karma that nurtures good thoughts and beliefs. Genes contain inherited information about the formation of the body, height, eyes, intelligence, as well as vulnerability to certain diseases. So every individual carries this DNA from a karmic record stored from the past life. Since this is pre-recorded, it exists even after death. Thus, karma forms the major part of the DNA of every individual's body. Apart from this, we receive DNA from our parents, but receive the majority of genes from past lives. These genes play a major role and influence the actions of individuals from time to time. There are 4 types of karma that depict different time frames, namely Sakita, Prarabdha, Kriyamana, and Agni karma. Sakita karma is all the actions performed in the past life and all the decisions taken in the present life. These decisions and deeds cannot be changed or reversed. Prarabdha karma is part of the past life which shows its presence today. In this karma, the genes form the past life influence the working of the individual in the present. Kriyamana karma is the actions that are performed in the present, and the fruits of those decisions will be received during the same lifetime, may it be in the form of success or disease. Agni karma is the most important. It speaks about the decisions made today and how it will affect in the future. The cycle of these 4 karmas will keep on continuing until the end of time. There are 12 laws of karma that have a role in everybody's life, knowingly or unknowingly. 1. The first law is obviously the law of cause and effect. 2. The second law is the law of creation, which states that good things or deeds don't happen magically, but a good level of dedication can make them possible. 3. The law of humility is accepting what currently exists in life and being happy with it. Many successful people today are kind, humble, but when they had to start their journeys, they had to accept certain circumstances and society. 4. The law of growth speaks about the growth and expansion of it. Growth is achieved within, and the results are seen in the outside world. 5. The law of responsibility is the fifth law of karma. This speaks about the taking responsibility for certain mistakes and misfortunes brought up upon. 6. The law of connection speaks up on the connections of past, present, and future life. Each experience experienced in the past has brought today's outcomes, and the same outcome will be produced in the future. 7. The law of force. This law tells that doing more than two tasks simultaneously is not feasible. Focusing on one task will produce better results. 8. The law of giving and being selfless. The more good deeds did, the more returns will return over time. 9. The law of the present. Focusing on what there in the present without focusing on past experiences and building for the future. 10. The law of change. If negative vibes are persistent, it is time to move on. Find connections, change thoughts to inherit a positive attitude. 11. The law of patience sows reward, success, and happiness is not built in a day. It takes hours and days of hard work and determination to find it. Patience is one of the best virtues to have in difficult times, and with time, the results will start showing diligence. 12. The final and most important law of karma is the law of significance. Each individual has special gifts and talents. Each gift has its own importance. It is essential to contribute and influence the world with the gift. Deserving of more happiness? Understand life. Life is fair for all. Individuals who perform good deeds get rewarded handsomely, but those who do bad deeds are punished mercilessly. Every living creature gets what they deserve. These above statements are quite difficult to understand with all the injustices, babies dying after birth, animals being killed for pleasure, and so on. This appears like this as humans don't see the entire picture. If they did, then life would change significantly. Then humans would not blame others for their luck and misfortunes, but work on themselves to improve their life, starting by performing good deeds. One day the good, bad deeds we do will come back to us. Life is fair and simple if rules are followed and obeyed. Studying how justices work in life can be only understood if life's big picture is seen. Life cannot be seen as a way to gain materialistic value only. Life needs to be explored in a spiritual sense. Human beings have the unique ability to understand how various laws govern the entire ecosystem. These choices allow them to choose a path to inner peace, success, and happiness. Materialistic values of life explain the major developments of life, while spiritual sense or values explain the reason for suffering, happiness, the good and the bad, and so on. These spiritual values dictate how a certain action on humans or animals will have an adverse effect on them, but with time will come back to haunt these same individuals who initiated the action on these creatures. Materialistic and spiritual values shape the physical and natural laws of nature, and shape the consciousness of each individual. This governs the law of cause and effect, and cannot be avoided or tinkered with. Both this value indicate that reality is an unbroken whole, and it is connected one way or the other, stretching from generations, and will continue to do so until the end of time. Once humans understand the law of cause and effect, run their life, a difficult and treacherous journey becomes short and simple. Life is determined by choices and decisions during each second. The ship to a bright and happy future is sailing right now. All that requires to be done is to get to an island and prevent getting shipwrecked in the middle of the ocean filled with dangerous creatures. The most down-to-earth moment of a human to help somebody else will eventually help him in reaching his goals tomorrow. Entering a theater halfway to a show, nobody will understand the context of the movie and what is going on. The same can be said about life. Life doesn't show the full picture, but, on the contrary, provides a small opening, waiting for somebody to capitalize on. Most humans are confused about themselves trying to find themselves, being unhappy, and completely unaware of the life-changing big picture waiting to release. Most humans want to find out the mysteries surrounding them. Why do they exist? And what purpose in life do they have to reach? Some individuals even want to know the fine details about their childhood to uncover these secrets. But listening or watching back a few seconds of your past life will take hours at a time and is technically not feasible. Some spiritual mysteries intrigue everybody. The questions pertaining to these mysteries include: how was the earth formed? How did life first start on this planet? Answering these questions would require a deep knowledge of spiritual value and science. The whole idea of science was finding out how things came to being. Physicists are trying to find out how the laws of nature come into existence, but are still not able to reach a conclusive result. While cosmologists would be very happy to know how the Big Bang Theory occurred, and how the entire Earth came to being. The same can be said about humans wanting to rewind and watch their life. The more answers these people will get, more questions will start appearing, making it literally impossible to understand how everybody came into existence. After this, the conclusion is that there is somebody in the background pulling the strings, called God, making sure every species is treated in accordance with the action performed by them. Believing in God is one thing, but following a faith without questioning certain aspects of it is a big disaster waiting to happen. Faith is overhyped and an overrated virtue. Faith is an illusion or mirage which is mistaken for reality. Faith makes people do things they would have a domino effect on them. Faith is a coin toss. Predicting the right outcome is not certain, but there is a probability of getting it correct. E.g., a student who hasn't studied for the exams and prayed to all the deities, there is a probability that the student might just get an easy paper and clear the exams. This is how faith works. Faith is a very good as well as a dangerous tool to possess. But in reality, the law of cause and effect takes precedence over everything. Life is a game of chess, which has pawns, rooks, bishops, knights, a king, and a queen. The king dictates how to protect it and win. The same can be said about life. People who decided to bring a change in their habits and deeds and ended up as the kings of these games. Their actions today have an effect on everybody around them, e.g., politicians, scientists, social media influencers, etc. Every human being has the ability to achieve their goals. But being the smartest creature in the jungle has its own drawbacks. Humans tend to postpone every single task possible. They inevitably decide to forget about the task and remain pawns to the game played by the king. The beliefs of humans determine whether success will follow or failure. The major reason for distress and postponement of any task among humans is the fear of failure. This fear of failure will stop humans from chasing their dreams and achieving their goals. Every human fears about financial loss, which will pose a threat to their security and survival as a whole. A change of scenery, or a positive outlook on life, surrounded by individuals who care, could help people get away from fear and all the negative thoughts surrounding them. So taking small steps at a time will help relieve this fear and will steadily grow the confidence of the individual. Every successful individual in the world has gone through failure once in their lives and come out of it a winner. In the absence of fear, humans can be the happiest creatures in the world. What if there were a hack to break and understand this law? This can be by analyzing these few questions. How are certain thoughts, deeds, influencing certain circumstances in life? How to interpret the world in a different way? How changing patterns of thinking will affect life? How looking up to successful people, watching their behaviors, actions, help? Financially successful? Not an accident. The law of cause and effect implies to money as much as any other subject. Money is an effect of an action, which was taken years or centuries ago. With money comes success, and with success comes happiness. Money is, however, good as well as evil. Individuals with vast hoards of cash have made good as well as bad decisions. The effects of these decisions are seen today in different countries and the world as a whole. Having a lot of money and using the same money wisely is a completely different ballgame. Countries and individuals have used the money to stop wars and start wars as well. All of this only to gain a piece of land to improve their respective economies. However, this has only worsened their economies, as wars last years and require more funding as well. Leaders have sold land and property of the poor, and with time found themselves either executed, dying a painful death, or having been put behind bars. Even the richest and wealthiest individuals cannot escape the wrath of the law. Money, though easy to spend, requires a lot of effort to make. Earning more money will solve a lot of problems. Asking for a pay hike could be the easiest option, but that depends on various factors, from how hardworking the individual is to the status of the company, and so on. The other viable option available is spending wisely and in smaller quantities, but this will have a domino effect on the lifestyle and outlook of the person. The easiest parameter that is skipped is watching and learning from successful people. Money matters if you are a materialist or a spiritualist. It is widely believed that money is not spiritualist, but this has arisen due to the inability of certain individuals to achieve these materialistic goals. It is important to understand humble poor advance with time. A humble individual understands the goods and bad of life, limitations and faults, which will eventually lead to success. It will also require hard work, dedication, and good deeds to reach the top of the mountain. Where there is some element of risk involved, there is the same amount of reward to be gained. The same can be said in terms of making more money. Money can be there today and can be gone by tomorrow. Individuals who have invested well in their early days are today able to reap the benefits of it. A huge portion of the money is lost via gambling. Gambling is a disease that starts as a hobby but ends up having far-reaching implications. Gambling follows the law of cause and effect quite well. Initially, it can make hordes of money until the streak lasts. Once the streak comes to an end, so will all the money. However, certain individuals have been successful in this area as well, but the effect of their actions will have implications for their future generations. There is a myth that states that money can be made only if somebody works hard. This, however, is not the whole story. If that was the truth, then a lot of hard-working men and women would be millionaires today. Money is obviously made by working, but also through good planning. How successful an individual will be is partly dependent on his consciousness and all the deeds performed by him. The health of an individual may depend on money. Individuals and communities which have good health care and medical assistance have good monetary funding. These communities today are leading the globe in all aspects, may it be in sports, science, or any other field of importance. However, these communities don't possess the peace of mind or have the aesthetical experience that some poor communities will have. Humans are never satisfied with what they have, so communities having large sums of money would want to have even more money at their disposal. Running after money will endanger the health of any individual, and the quality time with friends and family will be lost. All the wealth in the world cannot always offer happiness with it. When people struggle financially, it's difficult to think past the negative implications it has. But when people are doing well financially, only positive vibes follow. However, the positive vibe can be felt with or without possessing a good amount of wealth. How is it so? Donate and help poor people. The more good flow of energy others get from this, the more energy will be bestowed back to the individual. Try and picture money in a positive mind frame instead of considering it as the key to success. Individuals need to be happy with what they have instead of wanting more all the time. All actions performed now will come to show their effect in the future. Having a good conscience doesn't come with money. It comes with experience. Money is not a currency note having a divine energy. It is the energy of these good and bad deeds. This energy will remain connected throughout life. This will be the key to success and failure, and it will impact some portion of the future generation. The paper notes that are possessed are symbols of this energy. These symbols won't travel with anybody after death, but the energy most certainly will. Effect on past, present, and future life. According to the law of cause and effect, past, present, and future lives are all interrelated. The domino effect of the law makes it possible that certain actions of ancestors in the past may have implications today, while certain actions performed today may have implications for future generations. After death, the physical body decays off, but the true self is still intact. This true self is a storage that will determine the type of life in the future. The mouth and body can be manipulated, but consciousness is very difficult to manipulate, and it is present in the world even after death. From the start of time, human beings have created vast civilizations from place to place. Humans have started wars that have resulted in favorable as well as unfavorable conditions. These results have shaped how the world is today. Coming to the present scenario with the advancements in technology, humans have started over-exploiting natural resources, all in the name of development. This development has destroyed ecosystems. They have indirectly paved the way for the formation of deserts. This will indirectly impact how the Earth will look and be for future generations. Laws of nature keep on continuing, whether somebody believes they exist or not. Past times have an important impact on everybody's lives. However, what is done in the past cannot be changed. The bitterness and shame from past events need to be thrown away. Moving ahead, thinking about life in a positive manner is the way forward. The present is the most important moment, and it will determine what happens later in life. The interpretation of the future plays an important role in understanding how life is looked upon. Having an optimistic outlook of the future helps open up and engage in life fully. It is a good idea to check the past out sometimes, looking for mistakes done during that period, and making sure they are not repeated in the future. Some people focus a lot on the past, and some focus a lot on the future. Finding a balance in these two at the same time focusing on the present will bring more happiness. The law of cause and effect is a universal law that has no bounds and cannot be tinkered with. The law is governed by an entity that nobody has seen. The law gives a perspective of life, which allows seeing to the fact that life is not a set of random occurrences, but a formula that anybody and everybody can follow and become successful. This formula is a free choice which can help mold certain decisions on a day-to-day basis. Life is a movie, and where some people are directors while some are cleaners on the set. The state individuals are in today is because of events in life that have manifested with time. There is nothing called luck or misfortune, but something called as good and bad deeds. These deeds will determine the events in life. The conscience in each individual is an important aspect of how life is looked at. A successful person's conscience will always make him make the right decision when given a choice. A successful person doesn't mean that the person has a lot of money, but rather somebody who has a lot of happiness. The principles of the law focus on two major aspects: accepting the past and trying everything to improve the present condition or maintaining a certain standard. This package is already present, but the next package depends on person to person and how that package will be better. Making plans for the future package is of utmost importance, and it will also determine the future of the preceding generation. The present package is an investment for the future, may it be in terms of materialistic value or spiritual values. The benefits of understanding the law are that it will provide encouragement to do good deeds in order to be blessed with happiness and success with time. There is no way around the law of cause and effect. There are, however, certain ways that can swing the tide and help individuals in being a success and leaving behind a legacy for generations to come.